Have you been to Cranford Brothers Barbecue yet? Every day, Cranford Brothers Barbecue serves the best smoked meats, sides, sandwiches, and craft beer, all produced on site in downtown Hickory, North Carolina. Visit Cranford Brothers Barbecue today for lunch or dinner and find out everything that's happening at the historic Old Pawn Shop. That's the home of Cranford Brothers Barbecue, City Walk Brewing Company, and the great new breakfast spot, Main Chick Jam and Biscuits. Be sure to call Cranford Brothers Barbecue to cater your next game day get-together or special event. Your guests will always remember the best barbecue bites they get from Cranford Brothers Barbecue. Visit CranfordBros.com to learn more or plan your visit today. If you're ever planning a Carolina barbecue journey down east toward Fayetteville and Wilmington, be sure to take a side trip to Garland on Thursday or Friday. That's where you'll find Southern Smoke Barbecue and Pitmaster Matthew Register. And we're excited to welcome Matt back to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. Welcome, Matt.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to always be
wonderful.
with you.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you back this time because, let's be honest, depending on where you live, Garland, North Carolina may not be the most convenient place to get to. And I want to help some of the blind masses out there in the barbecue world find you in Garland, and especially your barbecue. With that said, I'll tell you what is convenient, and that's the Carolina Barbecue Festival. It's April 4th and 5th. And that's where more than a dozen pit masters are going to be assembled with Matt, and they're going to share a taste of their barbecue best. And the lineup includes Matt, like I said, Ben Hooper from Ben's Backdraft, Dylan Cook from Fort Grove Barbecue, Sam Jones Barbecues, Michael Letchworth, Brian Furman. You can see the whole list at Carolina Barbecue Fest. It's carolinabbqfest.org. And because the Low and Slow Barbecue Show is the official podcast for this year's festival, you can meet all those pit masters and hear their stories at lowslowbbqshow.com. While you're there, find the blog, subscribe to our barbecue newsletter, or listen to the more interviews with our barbecue experts like Matthew Register. And Matt, for folks who are living under a rock or missed you on our previous conversations, why don't you start by giving everybody a quick introduction to your business? What is Southern Smoke Barbecue?
So we are in a little town called Garland, like you said. Um, I like to say it's in the middle of the nowhere, but on the way to everywhere, right? So we're right on 701 in Sampson County, in between Clinton and White Lake. We're about 52 minutes from downtown Wilmington and about 45 from Fayetteville. So we're kind of in the middle of everything. We're an hour, 20 minutes from Raleigh. So we're close, but you got to take a little drive to us. So we're opened up a couple of days a week. We do a big catering business. We have Southern Smoke and then we have South Catering. And we cater basically last year. We catered from Richmond to Panama City Beach, Florida. So we
Wow.
cover a lot of ground. Yeah. Wow was right. It was August, Florida. We cooked for like 2,000 people in the middle of a parking lot. So it was an interesting trip, to say the least.
Yeah, well, so let's talk more about the business that you've got going on in Garland. What can folks expect when they visit you on Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, so we always have barbecue and ribs, some type of chicken, but everything else, there are no set menus. It's very seasonal. Of course, lately there's been a lot of soups and stews and hearty stuff, but in the summer you'll see a lot of seafood and fresh salads, according to what we're getting from our local farmers. I don't ever like to use the term farm to table because I think it's always gotten overused, but it really is seasonal. In May, we have a lot of farmers that eat with us, and squash will start showing up in 5 gallon buckets. So, but it's very non-conventional. I love having a chalkboard menu. Um, I always encourage our staff and everybody. We don't have boundaries, so if we want to, do something cool and funky and different, why not do it? So and I think it helps us from really getting bogged down and doing the same thing every day. Those same sides. And for example, it's like mac and cheese. You can only get mac and cheese on Fridays, and our customers know that. And we have a lot of customers that only will come on Friday because that's what they want. So it's a way for us to constantly evolve, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that approach on keeping it fresh so you don't get bored with the same thing. Hey, everybody loves to barbecue, and I know you got to have some passion to do what you're doing there in your business. And we'll talk a little bit more as we move on here, but definitely cool that you keep some variety and definitely cool to keep that seasonal approach to it as far as the menu and the specials board goes. Now, tell me about some of the more exotic things that you've included on the specials board lately. Now, I know you mentioned the warm, hearty stuff like Brunswick stew and your favorite collard stew, but what are some of the exotic things that you like to throw out there?
Yeah, so this past week we did a Philly cheesesteak soup. I didn't really know going in how it would work, but it worked out really well. We love doing brisket chili, and um, if we're not making sausage from our brisket trimmings, we'll grind that into, and either make burgers. This time we did, chili, but it just really varies. You'll see a lot of like po' boys, those kind of things. I go through spells, and I'm cooking a lot of New Orleans style food and a lot of Cajun flavors right now. That's just kind of what I'm into. So it really varies. We'll do classic French ratatouille, we'll do tamales. I mean, it really is, and it drives my right hand guy, Cray, it drives him up the wall because he can't really prepare for anything. It's me walking in saying, okay, this is what we're doing. It's like the soup last week, and he was like, I don't know if that's going to work. And I'm like, just leave me alone and like let me figure out like how to do this. And people like it. We've done one of my favorite things we've done in the last 6 months is we did a bone stock out of rib bones and did ramen. We did a
Mm.
ramen rib stock, and then we took ribs and cut them up and made them kind of spicy and also a little crispy, and then put like a spicy mayo over it, and it was killer. It was really good, and we served it in the like little ramen cups that you get at the Piggly Wiggly. So that's fun. Those kind of things are really fun.
Yeah, definitely. And as a patron, it's got to be fun to walk in and see that. But if I'm outside Garland, if I'm at Rose Hill or somebody even further than that, how do I know what's going to be coming up when you've got something cool? Do I just is it a crapshoot? You walk in and
Social,
see what's on the specials board, or
nice.
how do I find out?
Yeah, social media, a lot of times we post if we're doing something like really cool and funky, we'll post the day before because a lot of people say, well, I didn't see the post. And I'm like, well, we posted it for 2 days, guys. I mean, and we post it everywhere, all through all of our social medias. But some days it is very, very organic where I may walk into the Piggly Wiggly on a Thursday morning and not really know what we're going to do that day and just kind of brainstorm. And some days you get to eat what I want to eat for lunch. So if I want gumbo, you're going to eat gumbo for lunch. So it's fun. It really is fun, and I'm sure it drives people up the wall sometimes because the menu is constantly changing. But we do keep staples like baked beans and slaw and potato salad. We're not doing potato salad now because of the how cold it is and that kind of stuff. I'm really going more really hearty. So you're seeing a lot more barbecue potatoes. Those kind of Eastern North Carolina staple type things.
I gotcha. You mentioned the social media, and I'm glad you did because there's something new I've been seeing from you. 94 and a half feet down Warren Street. What's that all about?
Yeah, so during COVID, we did these dumb videos, just us like cutting up, and it's basically us sitting at a table. And so Jay Billis on ESPN Game Day does these things called 94 feet. And he does these interviews down the basketball court. And
Right.
harebrained idea late at night, us coming home. And I was like, why don't we start doing like 94 and a half feet down Warren Street, which is the road that the restaurant's on? And to be honest with you, the road is just about 94 and a half feet. Like it's not a full city block. And, um, I'm actually getting a little bit of grief from customers because we haven't done a new one, but we really want to evolve it into. Lewis and I did one at the Smithfield Cup where we bring like really like our friends and when we're on
Mm.
location and, wherever we are, we just grab somebody up that's, for example, Dylan and I have not done one. Jake and I have not done one. I hadn't done one with Garen. B and I have not done one. Like all those guys, like I want to just because of what I want to do is introduce our customers to like people we find inspiration from that are our friends, like that I talk
Yeah.
to, on a weekly, if not daily basis. And, you know, of course, Dylan's doing some really funny stuff on his social media. And of course, Jake is always like really and truly is doing just I text him some mornings of like, bro, you're not right. Like we are in the restaurant, like dying watching your videos. And so it's just our way of doing like 94 and a half feet down Warren Street. And I'm hoping that we've got a new one that's going to be coming out. I am actually in Kiowa Island this on Thursday night, and Will Andrews from Rolling Bones out of Charleston, he and I tried to film one at Holy Smoke, and it was so windy, and my 13-year-old son was trying to film for me, and it was just all over the place. So, Will and I've got to do it, but we're hoping. The funniest one we did was very spur of the moment at the state fair. My daughter, we were in town seeing my daughter walk around, and she was like, "Dad, you need to do a 94 and a half feet at the North Carolina State Fair." And I was like, that's a brilliant idea, but I have no clue what I'm going to say. So it's just another way to engage really with our customers. And when we used to do the videos, people like they connect to it and um, they come in the restaurant and they may see us, super busy and the turtle box is blaring with music and they don't get to see like the funny side um of like some of the stuff we do and the behind the scenes. And for example, Cray hates being on camera. He doesn't like talking to people. So that's why I'm always like cracking jokes about Cray because he does not like, and I've told him like, I'm like, you're going to have to do one of these one day. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm just going to quit. And so, they're fun. It's just something fun and dumb for us to do, like to break the monotony, sometimes.
Yeah, another aspect of fun. Again, you're not just doing the same menu all the time. You're mixing it up. You got the social media that's keeping it fun out there too. And I want to stay on the media moment for just a moment because you mentioned what Dylan's doing, and I'll throw Robbie Robinson in there too about some of his social media
Yeah.
posts. In the barbecue world, you talk about building engagement with your audience, but how do you feel like that has a role or an impact on your business in any kind of larger way, or does it?
Well, so I've always, I want when people walk into my restaurant to feel like they know me. I don't want to be this mystery person that you're just walking in. I've always felt like food conveys love. And I want people to see, the love in our food, but also like it's fun. Like, I mean, when you really think about it, I was on a phone conversation with somebody earlier. I get to wear a t-shirt and shorts and play with fire and cook and listen to music every day. Like I mean, we're not building rockets. I mean, this is fun, but I really think it does. I you people talk about folks on TV that they connect with their audience. I want people to know us. I want them to walk in and laugh about something I said about Cray, or hey, we went to Greenville and we saw where you had a video, and we know that Dylan Cook's a friend of yours, and we went and ate with him, and we felt like we knew him. So I think it's just fun. It's not, the editing is not fun. I like that kind of stuff. I love editing. I love graphic design, but that's a nightmare at times. And getting those clips in there, because we try to, I have teenagers in my house, so I like to stay up to date on what's hip and cool, and they would like roll their eyes, but like
Good luck.
everybody is bro. Like in my house is like bro, everything's bro.
Bro. Yeah.
So we just want it to be fun, and um I've had a lot of fun with it. There are times, and there hasn't been a ton of stuff like really going on lately. Um, I was going to do one last week, but then, we got 4 inches of snow, and I'm not a cold weather person, so I hated going outside anyway. So, and our road was halfway iced down. So,
It's hard to do it then. So let me ask you, as we kind of talk a little bit further about your business, how do you balance the barbecue business, the Garland Street location of Southern Smoke, with the catering piece of it, and how do you juggle those two things, particularly when you're filling as many of those dates in as large of a region as you talked about a little bit earlier?
it's complete madness. I mean, it truly is. One, I have an incredible group like around me. I really do. And I have been very, very blessed where I talk to friends all over that say, man, we can't find any help. Well, I am very lucky. I coach high school girls soccer. I'm around the boys program a lot. I've always been lucky to have really good like high school, college age kids that um, they get it, and they're good kids, and they kind of buy in, and we have a good time. But it's challenging, and it's challenging carving out those times where, okay, I'm not Southern Smoke, I'm not South Catering. I got to be dad this weekend, and I went through spells where if we were not working on a Saturday, I almost felt guilty because one, my employees weren't working, but we weren't like out working our brand, and we've tried to do a really good job of balancing all of that. And Cray is a big cog in that, where I can look at him and say, hey man, listen, we've got a party. Are you good with you come in a little later? I'll come in early. I'll get you guys on the road, and you go run the catering, or going to weddings and getting everybody served, and then me being able to come home. That's my biggest concern. A lot of weekends is we work on Saturdays, and because it's weddings, and I'm really thankful to have the people I do around me, because they're allowing me to still be present, because I want to run my business. I don't want my business to run me. And that was one fear I had when we first got in the restaurant business, that I told my wife that it would not control our life. Now, there are times when it does. My kids
Hmm.
understand wedding season. It's just going to be like that, but I have been, you know, lucky enough, and we've been busy enough where I can take a Saturday in the fall and go somewhere, or in the summer kind of block off. a time where, hey, we're going to go do this. We're going to be closed, or we're not going to cater. So um, we're just lucky. But it is a constant balancing act. I mean, it really is, and but the alternative is awful, and where I don't get to cook every day, and I have to work a 9 to 5 because I've done that. Basically since I was 15 years old, and but it really is it's really attributed to the people around me, my family, because my daughter works for me now. I mean, she's getting ready to
Mhm.
turn 19. She's in college, so she's been working since she was 14 years old. So like I could throw her with a crew and she knows how to run it,
Right.
and I joke with my boys, one's getting ready to turn 14, one's getting ready to get turn 13, and I'm like, hey, you're all getting ready to start learning how to clean pits and running fires and busted
Yeah.
tables. I mean, it's the nature of the monster, and um, I mean I'm sure I want them to have to work in the barbecue business, so when they get older, they don't have to work in the barbecue business. They can go be a doctor or a lawyer and have weekends off.
And spend those weekends cooking barbecue if they want to, right? So you kind of touched
They
on it
can
there for a
come.
moment, but
I'll still be cooking barbecue when they get old. I'll still be cooking barbecue. They can come cook for me on a Saturday.
yeah, there you go. Well, I want to kind of go back to your background because you touched on it a minute there. You're 9 to 5 working since you were 15. Like a lot of people who wind up in the barbecue business, I don't think getting into barbecue was your original direction. So just quickly tell folks, remind people, what were you doing and how did you stumble into this barbecue
Wow.
thing?
Um, the better question is, what haven't I done? I in college, I looked at my parents and said, "Hey, I'm going to be a golf pro the rest of my life. Golf is my passion.
Oh,
I played in college." And then I realized after I got out that the golf business is not playing golf every day. It's standing in a pro shop from 8 in the morning until 7 at night, and you work 50 hours and get paid for like 25 hours. So
mm,
I got out of that and actually got in the car business, sold cars for a while. And then the job that I really had intentions of probably doing for the rest of my life, I was a real estate developer. I worked for one of the big pharmacy companies, and um, went and purchased real estate for them and built their stores for them. And I really enjoyed it. I really did. And then it kind of slowed down, and I started kind of fiddling with barbecue, just something to pass on to my kids. And if I'm a reader and a learner by nature, I think that's having two parents that were educators. I'm constantly wanting to try to learn and become better at things that I don't understand and I don't
mm,
know. And um, man, it just blew up. I mean, it really, really. I started cooking for people would say, "Hey, can you cook a pig for us? For a family reunion," or "I'm cooking 10 Boston butts this weekend. Can you, who wants barbecue?" And it really evolved. And then one of my favorite stories is here in Garland. We're like a lot of other small towns, and I decided I was going to set up a pop up tent in my pit and try to sell 50 sandwiches on the side of the road, not really thinking about health department and those kind of things. And
yeah.
I sold like 100 sandwiches in like an hour
Wow.
because while wood cook barbecue is a thing in Eastern North Carolina, there's not a lot of restaurants left that do it
Mm,
that way. And
hmm.
so I think I did that on a Thursday. On Monday, I got a call from the health department, and they said, "We know that you're catering some. You sold barbecue sandwiches on the side of the road. Either open a restaurant or stop what you're doing." And So then that kind of evolved into us looking at little small buildings in Garland. And we moved into an old fish market that was in our family for I don't know how many years and built a little kitchen on it. I was still doing real estate development. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, maybe we could open one day a week. I could cater like a couple of days a week or a couple of weekends and just this be a side hustle. And
Mm,
we opened the first day we opened, we had 75 people in line. And
wow.
I have done one, maybe two real estate deals in the last 12 years. I mean, it just is. I tell people often that my story is extremely improbable. First restaurant I really worked in was my own.
Wow.
And I read books. I asked questions. I had a lot of people that helped me along the way. Bill Smith is a real good friend of mine. Keith Rhodes at Catch, the guys at Southern Soul and in St. Simon's really kind of took me under their wing, and the guys at Home Team, became people that I could ask questions. And one of the most rewarding things now that I've been in the business so long is I've people are calling me now, and it makes me feel really good to be able to kind of pay it forward for what those restaurant guys did for me. That now there's younger guys that will call me and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And I can tell them like those guys told me where I screwed up and where we did the right things.
Yeah, and it kind of come full circle there. So, you mentioned this. You're a heavy learner. You like to read. You soak things up. Have you had any formal culinary training? Because some of the things that you have on the specials board, they get sort of gourmet sounding.
No, yeah, I get flack for that a lot of places that why do you always have to chef it up? Why do you have to put microgreens? No, I have no formal training whatsoever. Um, my grandmother was an unbelievable cook. My mom's a great cook. I'm married into a family of upstate New York Italians that are ridiculous cooks. But you will see influences from a lot of people that um, you know that I've cooked with, that I take things from them that I've learned from them. But no, I have zero formal training. I you kind of work through stuff, and that's a lot of times we work through things, and I still, if you sat me down beside somebody. We've been open almost 12 years. If you sat me down with like a CIA grad, and I've got a cousin that's a culinary grad, I do stuff wrong. But I'm like, you know what? We've been doing it long enough. Like, I don't care. Like, we're going to keep doing it
Yeah,
this way. But, I think you always need to, in any aspect of life, you need to constantly be learning. And I learned that from my grandfather and my father. Both of them, you see them, they would have a book. They would, if there's something they don't know, they would start reading and studying it. I am going through also a bread phase right now where I'm making bread and
mm-hmm.
um, it's been very funny at the restaurant. They've all been laughing because I'm just obsessed with like making really good, Italian like bread, and I've kind of gone deep. So you'll look in, my nightstand right now is a bread making book, the Noma book about fermentation, and then I think I've got like a salad, like a vegetable book, because it's that time of the year for us where we're starting to work on new things for our catering menu and preparing for summertime.
Yeah, it's exciting. I want to talk more about the horizon. We're going to get into the barbecue festival here in just a moment, but hey, on that horizon, anything coming up? What have you got in the future? What does it hold for the business for you guys? Not just from a menu perspective, but anything new coming down the pipe for you?
Yeah, so we're excited. This fall, we kind of extended our hours and started opening on Friday nights. Just to
Mm,
kind of, I didn't want to do it in the summer because that is our busy time with travelers and stuff. So we opened up middle of October and November on Friday nights. Kind of a limited menu just to see like how do we do this because we've always been programmed to, hey, when we sell out, like we're gone.
yeah.
And most of the time that's by 2 o'clock. So we're kind of gearing up probably into March once it really warms up and days get a little bit longer. We're going to start opening on Friday nights full time. And one of the things we're going to do is I'm going to kind of do a play on a meet and three play, a meet and three special every night. To really because I love a good meet and three. Um,
Mm,
if anybody sees me, they know that I love a good meet and three. But really kind of expanding our menu offerings with that meat and three, where we're really kind of doing some new funky things like bringing in liquor pudding and instead of like sweet potato casserole, doing that liquor pudding and doing some marigold
mm,
tomatoes and kind of really exposing people to those obscure recipes like from the South that I love. We're also, I'm probably going to do like a seafood special on Friday nights, especially once it warms up and we're starting to go to the coast more and more and that kind of stuff where I can be getting, fish that are coming off the boat and bring them back to the restaurant and everything. And we're still going to offer free beer Friday nights. I mean, that's people like that. It's fun. I have some customers that
yeah.
turn their noses up at it, but that's one of the things I'm really excited about is because we do have a lot of travelers on 701 that are going to White Lake.
Mm,
They're going to Myrtle Beach, and they're like, oh, we can't get there before you're sold out everything. So we're going to kind of stay up until 2 and then give us a couple of hours to kind of reset, get everything kind of back normal, and then open up 4:30, 5 o'clock for 2 or 3 hours, and really a lot of loud music. Eventually I would love to stick a band back there. Really kind of have just a fun party scene where our town, unfortunately, in this area at 5 o'clock, everything kind of shuts down,
mm,
and we want to draw people that can't get to us at lunch. We want them to come eat dinner with us, and sit outside. I mean, we've got a huge, big patio area that we really want to start back using more. We used it a lot before COVID, and then when COVID hit, we kind of shut
mm,
down and just didn't really focus on getting, getting people outside and eating community tables and that kind of stuff. So I'm really, really excited about that. New menu stuff. We're really starting to kind of test batch and R&D some really like super new cool things that we're really rolling out. And part of that is, Jake's always doing new stuff.
mm-hmm.
You know, I laugh. My buddies are pushing me to want to do new things, and so Robbie's constantly you know pushing the envelope and doing new stuff, and sometimes I feel like I get beat to, and I'm like, man, I was thinking about doing that. Now y'all are doing it, So,
Mm. You're keeping up with the
but
Joneses.
yeah, a little bit, yeah, and I think it's an honor for me. It's one of the you know, ultimate honors when I see a friend doing a version of one of my recipes at their
Mm,
restaurant. For example, like Lewis did collard chowder. Jake did
yeah.
his version of a collard chowder. Dylan is obsessed. I do these pork nuggets, and every time I'm around him, I do them, and like Dylan did a version of our pork nuggets, and that is the ultimate compliment. When you see, friends and people you respect and admire doing things, that you've done. So, um, this is a fun time of year. It's a slow time of year. Um, for us, but this is the R&D, and I love the R&D of food. I love the prep and the constantly working on new stuff. Like, for example, we just did a new um, pickled tomato, and I
Mm.
cannot wait, like when we start doing that on our catering menu and introducing it to our customers, because it is so good. And especially when we start getting tomatoes that, have just been picked, that it's just going to be an explosion. Like, and I get excited about new salads and those kind of things. And we're doing a new dish that we've never done before in Kiowa this weekend. So like I'm really excited about some of our new stuff. Um, Not necessarily like growth, but new things that we're going to be introducing to our customers.
Yeah, and again, it's like it's sort of a running theme here with our conversation. A lot of passion, a lot of things that make it fun, kind of breaking up the monotony. All interesting stuff to kind of make a business work in the business world these days. Speaking of making things work, let's move into something else that's on the horizon. That's the Carolina Barbecue Festival coming up April 4th and 5th. Again, all the details at carolinabbqfest.org. And Matt, I've met you out there a few years running now, and I know you've been out there. You put out great food every year. You're always a big draw, long lines that you're serving. Let me ask you, why do you keep coming back? Why do you do the Carolina Barbecue Festival?
Man, it's about the people, you know. Yeah, Lewis has become a really good friend of mine. I probably talk to Lewis once or twice a week, but also, I think we, I have friends in the business that I talk to very often. I text with and we talk to, but we're not together very often. We see each other. These are some of my like best buddies, but we see each other 4 times a year,
Mm.
and when we can all get together at you know where it's low stress for us. I mean, these types of events are extremely fun for us. Now, if you would have asked me last year, about an hour and a half in, where we were cooking cheeseburgers, it was not fun. Um,
Man,
but
you had a lot of burgers going at the
it's
same time.
man, we did. We had a Lang 84. I don't know if a Lang 84's ever cooked that many cheeseburgers at one time, but it really is. And I love Charlotte. I really, I love the Charlotte area. Um, and I've got a lot of friends in the area, so it just kind of makes sense for us. But man, the people, like I get to see everybody, like I know that Dylan's going to be beside me and I'm going to be able to give him a hard time for at least 6 hours on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm really excited this year that Eric Pickle from Smoke Pickle Barbecue in Knoxville is going to be there. Eric is a great guy and someone that I have admired from afar. And I've eaten his food a couple of times and it was incredible. So I'm excited to have him, someone that I know, to be able to introduce him to a even larger, bigger barbecue community. I joke on this side of the mountains, and Brian Furman. Brian is my brother from another mother, and he and we probably talk 2 or 3 times a week, and it's just fun. It's fun to get to walk around and eat everybody's food and give each other a hard time, and I love the aspect of meeting new customers and new people
Mm.
that enjoy what we do. And it's fun. And one thing I love about it is I get to bring my family. I often we travel, and it may be just Jessica and I. But with this one, that's one of the things that Lewis is okay with, is the fact that my boys, my daughter, they all get to come. And that's a big deal for me, is that my family gets to travel, and now they know some of my friends that they're not around very often, and they get to know those personalities. Like,
Hmm.
they're cracking jokes when they see Mr. Dylan or Mr. Jake. And I have my middle son, if Mr. Jake is not doing birria tacos, he's going to fuss about it. He's going to fuss at
Mine
Jake,
will too.
and,
Yeah.
but they get to meet these people that are part of my life. And that's a big deal to me.
So, big deal aside, what are you bringing to the festival this year?
So, um, we've talked about all these, like, me evolving and all this stuff. And I told Lewis last year, about 45 minutes before it was over with, and I might have used a few words that we can't say on the podcast, but that I was never going to do a cheeseburger again, because we kind of quit counting at like 1,400 cheeseburgers, and
Oh,
it was just a lot. And
yeah.
so this year, I have always joked with Charleston and all the events that one day I want to do a hot dog. I want to do Eastern North Carolina bright leaf hot dog. So after I was fussing at Lewis and I hugged his neck, I said, I'm doing hot dogs next year. And he said, you can do whatever you want to. Like, I love you, and you can do whatever you want to. So we are doing bright leaf hot dogs. We're going to charcoal them off, like get them, a little burnt, a little crispy. I'm gonna do a brisket chili, and then our, like, Eastern North Carolina white slaw. Just very simple, but very. I'm very peculiar about several things. I am peculiar about barbecue. I'm very peculiar about fried chicken, and I'm very peculiar about hot dogs. A lot of people don't know, but with us traveling, about 6 years ago, we started a gas station hot dog 24/7 Instagram page, where we would rate hot dogs in gas stations all through our travels. And we needed to
Wow.
go back to it, and really kind of crank it back up. But I am a sucker for a good, like, red hot dog. And I don't know, do y'all have bright leaf hot dogs in Charlotte? The red
I've
hot
not
dogs?
seen one. No. I've seen red hot
Yeah, I
dogs,
mean,
but that's
it's
not a common thing. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is a very cultural east of I-95 thing, and it's one of those things, like when you go other places you can't find Duke's mayonnaise. But this is like, I mean, this is a part of my childhood, and it is so Eastern North Carolina, like, it's not even funny. And I was talking to Eric Pickle, and he's like, so what are you doing? I'm thinking about doing blah, 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 blah. It was all these, like, it was really, it sounded friggin' amazing. But I was like, yeah, man, I'm doing hot dogs. Like, we're cooking hot dogs. Because I also know, like, Garen's going to be there doing, like, brisket. Dylan's going to probably do, like, brisket or beef ribs. Jake's going to do a taco. Um, B's probably
Well,
going to
let me
cook
just stop you.
ribs,
Don't
which he
don't don't
should.
don't reveal all the secrets yet. Some of those
No,
things
but
we got
I'm
to
just
keep
telling
in.
you, I just wanted to cook a hot dog. And
Yeah.
it is literally one of my favorite things. So, and we're gonna make this like cool slaw. I'm not gonna do, like, put caviar on top of it. This is just gonna be a really great gas station, like, Eastern North Carolina gas station hot dog. We're gonna steam the buns, like, really, do it up. And I may make myself sick just standing over there eating hot dogs.
I can't wait to try it. It'll be at the Carolina Barbecue Festival April 4th and 5th. Tickets are available, carolinabbqfest.org. They got 2 nights, Friday, the big kickoff event, and then Saturday is the big festival, several hours with Matt and all the barbecue pit masters and hot dogs. And I can't wait for a hot dog. I like slaw on it. So put the slaw and the chili
Oh yeah,
and the hot dog all in one thing. Now,
yeah,
you've been very
yeah.
generous
You
with your
got it,
time
and
here, Matt.
you got to layer it. You got to layer it. Chili
Yeah.
first, then a little slaw. You know, the salty, the sweet, the little bit of char on the hot dog. We got it. We got
Yeah.
it figured out.
Yeah, I can't wait. My mouth's watering already. That may be what's for dinner tonight. Before we wrap it up, I know this is the favorite part of everybody's show, the low and slow showdown, Matt. And I know you've been through this before, but
Oh
I've mixed
no.
it up since the last time. So, top of the order, Matt registers music playlist, top three artists.
Oh wow. So I could do mine. I just saw mine from last year. So number one was J. Cole. You know, a Federal guy. I'm a hip hop guy. My second one was Morgan Wallen because I really like Morgan Wallen. You and I both know the connections on why I love Morgan Wallen. We're not going to get into that on the
Sure.
podcast.
Yep.
And then Dirty Heads. I love the Dirty Heads. So, but my music like goes everywhere. Like you'll in the restaurant, uh, it's anything from Motown to like really old country music to 90s hip hop to we played Thursday and Friday because it was so cold. We played nothing but like, Bob Marley. We played reggae music. We were listening to boat music
Yeah.
because we're ready for hot weather.
That's
Yeah, that's
good.
probably
Okay.
that's my top three. Zach Top is like right in there, like 3A, 3B, I guess you would say.
Gotcha. What's the name of the barbecue joint you grew up on?
Oh man. I'm trying to think. So there wasn't a joint. It was pig pickings like at family members is really like my most memorable like barbecue. Probably like youngest and one I remember is the barbecue lodge in Kinston. And it's
Okay.
closed down now. It's
Mm,
but yeah, most of my barbecue memories are I'm Eastern North Carolina, man. I mean, somebody like it's Friday, somebody's cooking a pig, So
yeah.
that's probably my fondest and most vivid memories of barbecue were pig pickings at different events.
Great way to come up. Now, the barbecue restaurant you want to visit, but you haven't gotten there yet.
Oh golly, you're gonna paint me in the corner. Probably Leroy and Lewis, or either Blue Oak in New Orleans.
Mm,
I've worked Evan. Evan is a buddy of mine. I've worked with him, and I actually just worked with the guys from Blue Oak in New Orleans, and both of them. But Evan's place has really been on my list for a long time because Evan is just brilliant. Like he's one of those guys you're around and you're like, wow, like this guy. And Truth, probably. Truth, is right up there too.
what is your favorite non barbecue meal?
Oh, pasta. Always pasta. It's always pasta. Pasta or pizza. I'm also into like bacon pizzas now. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But yeah, it's always pasta. We eat a ton of pasta. I mean, at our house, 2 to 3 nights a week. I mean, my kids, my youngest would eat pasta every night if I would let him.
Hey, it's a food group. The bread group is a food group. So let's
Yeah,
go to the more healthy
definitely.
side. What is the favorite vegetable to cook? What do you like? What vegetable do you like to cook the most?
Mine is very seasonal. I guess everybody would think I would say collards, but I prefer turnips over collards. Squash and okra, squash and okra for sure. I can't pick one. I love. pan fried okra with a little cornmeal, a little oil, like old school. But I love like
Mm.
squash casseroles, those kind of things. That's the vegetable would be harder than like picking a barbecue favorite.
I know, that's why we went with vegetables. What's something that you will never ever order on the menu?
Mac and cheese. Never order mac and cheese. Never. Because we cook so much of it, I don't want to see mac and cheese at all.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The best United state for barbecue.
North Carolina, period. And my friends in Texas are going to roll their eyes, but it's North Carolina. I mean, it's what I cook. It's what I prefer. It's Texas is hot, but we're still kings, And I'm gonna get some flack for saying that, but I don't care. We've been doing it a long time.
Pork or brisket?
Pork, pork's king, baby. Pork's king.
Is it the barbecue better with or without sauce?
I'm gonna give you an answer. You're not. I think lightly sauced, lightly sauced. You got to have a little bit of vinegar in pork. You got to have just a little bit of rub, and a little bit of sauce on a rib. Brisket, no sauce.
Is barbecue a verb or a noun?
I knew that was coming. So we could do a whole show on this because I just actually researched. It's actually both when you really think about it. And I caught some flack. I was standing up doing one of these TED Talks, and they asked that question, and I answered it just like I answered you. It is. I married an English teacher, and I'm going to say it's both. Um, I'm going to. It's both. It really is. But we know what barbecue is in North Carolina. It's not cooking hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill, you know. But it is, and I know that's like everybody hates that answer, but I always say that because it is both, And I don't want to get slapped on the hand by my English teacher wife, when I say, "Oh no, it's not this, it's that," So
And that, my friends, is the lowdown from the pitmaster of Southern Smoke Barbecue and Southern Catering, Matt Register. Matt, thanks again so much for joining our contest. And by the way, you're not wrong
uh,
about that. It is both. It's also an adjective, and it's a way of life, and it's a
yeah,
state of
yeah,
mind. It's all of the above.
it
Thanks
is.
for joining us.
Man, it's always fun to be on here. We'll see you in Charlotte in a few weeks.
Definitely. You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. If you like what you hear, give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast stream. Share our podcast with your friends or visit us at lowslowbbqshow.com. Be sure and subscribe to our newsletter. And hey, we're on YouTube now. Check out the video from the Barbecue Festival and other podcast interviews at our YouTube channel. Thanks to our production team at the Mesh.tv network of podcasts, especially Andrew Moose, the man behind the monitors. Thanks again to our guest, Matthew Register from Southern Smoke Barbecue in Garland. And most especially, thank you for listening. Remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.